What is up, everybody? Welcome back here to The Zone. I'm your host, Brendan. And, funny fact, I had this episode recorded yesterday, but there was no audio to it. So, here we are recording it again. We have some major news out of Major League Baseball when it comes to the pitching. We have some NFL news. We have some just other news as well, so let's get into it. So, the big news on the day, on Wednesday night, was the New York Mets were acquiring Freddie Peralta and Tobias Myers from the Milwaukee Brewers for Brandon Sproat and Jet Williams. Now, if you know me, I am a Mets fan, and honestly, Brandon Sproat made 2 starts this year. No, he made a couple starts, and he had I think it was like a. We're gonna pull up his Baseball Savant page, but he was 0-2. Didn't pitch bad. Definitely didn't pitch bad, but definitely did not pitch good. And definitely felt like it was more like the Mets didn't want to give up Jonah Tong. They didn't want to give up Nolan McLean, which I don't blame them. Who would want to give up Nolan McLean? But yeah, so Brandon Sproat this past year for the Mets, he pitched he was 0-2 with a 4.79 ERA. And I believe, that was 8 starts. He pitched 20 innings, gave up 11 earned runs, and he started 4 games for the New York Mets. So, not too bad for Brandon Sproat, but it's definitely something about But Brewers are getting such a small sample size in him that we will have to wait and see how that goes. And then Tobias Myers is also a guy that is a reliever and a starter. It's something that the Mets can put in the bullpen. They can have a spot start if a starter gets hurt. Just so many different options. Overall, for the Mets side, I give it an A+. You get your ace starting pitcher, really, since Jacob deGrom departed for the Texas Rangers, who we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. So stay tuned. And you get a very good, dependable reliever in Brandon Sproat. I like it. I like the move a lot. I like the fit for the Mets to go along with the rest of the offseason that they've had in Luis Robert, Marcus Semien, Bo Bichette. They also signed Luis Garcia, who is a relief pitcher, and he's a very good reliever still at 38 years old. So it's only going upwards for the Mets. But November and December definitely started off pretty horrifying for Mets fans. But it'll be okay. So the big news we had yesterday was the Texas Rangers acquiring starting pitcher Mackenzie Gore from the Washington Nationals in exchange for 5 prospects, who we will go over right now because I don't remember them off the top of my head. But that's okay. So, yesterday, the Rangers acquired Mackenzie Gore from the Washington Nationals in exchange for Gavin Frein, Alejandro Rosario, Devin Fitzgerald, outfielder Yomi Cabrera, and first baseman Alek Ortiz. Quite literally, I don't know any of those prospects. I just know Gavin Frein was a first-round pick of the Rangers in this past draft. So, pretty good. But let's talk about this for the Rangers side of things. Mackenzie Gore had been on the trade block and had been in multiple trade rumors the entire offseason. I never really thought the Nationals were going to move him, because why would you move a guy that was such a big piece? They got Mackenzie Gore in the Juan Soto deal, and they've also been stopping C.J. Abrams, so they also got in that Juan Soto deal. So a little weird. But Robert Hassel and James Ward are still doing their thing. James Ward's going to be a baller in this league. But overall for the Rangers, it's a good move. Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi are good starters, but have had their injury problems in the past, and they're not getting any younger. So it's a good move for the Rangers to go out and get Mackenzie Gore and slot him in at number 3 role, where he doesn't have to be the top of the line player. Like, he's not gonna have to be the ace of the rotation like he was in Washington. He's not gonna have to be. He's just gonna go up and be Mackenzie Gore. Like, I think that's all the Nationals. I mean, not all the Rangers are gonna ask for is Mackenzie Gore to go out there and simply just be Mackenzie Gore. Just be Mackenzie Gore and literally just be Mackenzie Gore. Like, point blank, period. Like, it's a good move for the Rangers. I give it an A+. Oh, I forgot to give the Brewers ranking. The Brewers, I'm going to give them an A as well. I think that them and the Mets both win the trade. But, yeah, for the Rangers, it's an A+. You go out there, you get a starting pitcher, which every team needs starting pitching. And there's a couple good options left on free agency pool. But, yeah, kudos to the Rangers. For the Nationals, I'm going to give you a B. Because you kind of set yourself back a little bit, which is probably the smart move because the Mets, the Mets, Braves, and Phillies are all going to be a little bit better than you this year. So, I mean, Miami's Miami. Like, the Marlins have made some moves too. Like, they've traded some pitchers, but have signed Pete Fairbanks. Like, the Marlins are a completely different story. But for the Nationals, that's a good move because you probably are not going to win the division, and you probably won't really sniff the playoff picture either, just because the NL is so loaded with, like I said, well, the Braves, Phillies, Mets, you got the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants, the Diamondbacks, you got the Cubs, the Brewers. I'm even going to put Pittsburgh in there. Like, it is so competitive in the National League where it's probably a good move that the Nationals just take a step back and say, you know what, we are not winning this year. Let's just trade Mackenzie Gore. And finally, the last big move was the Baltimore Ravens are hiring Jesse Minter, the LA Chargers defensive coordinator, to be their head coach. Honestly, it's a good move. He's a good defensive minded. I feel like a lot of teams are rolling towards more of defensive head coaches than offensive head coaches. But yeah, I like the move of Jesse Minter. He's a former Michigan Wolverine coach with Jim Harbaugh. So I like it, but not everyone might. But that's going to wrap up today's episode of The Zone. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new, and continue to enjoy the content. And make sure you check out that new episode of Books and Hoops podcast featuring Jake. I'll see you guys next video. Peace.